In today's episode, I want to talk about women and the fact that actually women can struggle with porn as well. And I'm going to share a testimonial from a client of mine, a female who overcame her addiction, and what you can learn from her story. So stay tuned. So, hey guys, before we get into the content today, just a friendly reminder that if you have recently had a slip and you are looking for support in getting back on track, if you're looking to build a solid foundation for your recovery so you don't have to keep starting over and over again, check out my 14-day slip reset. You can find the link to that in the show notes. So I hope you dive into that because it's really helpful to just set the proper foundation for your recovery. So most conversations about porn really center around men, and that's because men are primarily affected. But I want to talk about something a little bit different today, which is the fact that women can also struggle with porn addiction. And so I want to share a testimonial from a client of mine, someone who I worked with for many months, and some of the insights that she had about the process of recovery. And I wanted to share it because I know, first of all, that there are a lot of women out there listening to this, some who are struggling with porn and might feel alone or ashamed of that. They might feel embarrassed and feel like women don't actually struggle with this. So first of all, just to let those of you who are listening, who are women, know that you're not alone. But also because a lot of what my client shared in her testimonial, it gives a roadmap, a kind of a framework for how to effectively break free from this. So this client, we'll just call her Jane. That's not her real name. But I wanted to share her testimonial. So I'm just going to read the testimonial. And then afterwards, I'll talk about some of the key things that I think are important to pay attention to. So this is the testimonial that she wrote for me after our work together. As a woman, it was particularly difficult to acknowledge, let alone disclose the fact that I was struggling with porn. There's so much shame and fear around others finding out, so you live in secrecy. And that's how it takes over your life. It starts little by little and then grows into an unruly monster that you don't know how to defeat. This is when I found Jeremy's podcast. I researched many resources that helped with unhealthy addictions to sexual materials, but many were religious and the approach seemed off. What I loved about Jeremy's podcast was that it focused on how to build more fulfillment and meaning into one's life so that you are not escaping into unhealthy habits. And that really resonated with me because that's when it clicked that porn was not necessarily the problem in and of itself, but more like a symptom to a larger problem. So I reticently signed up for a free discovery call. I had never shared out loud with another human being that I couldn't stop watching porn. But I said it to Jeremy, a stranger I found online, and it was one of the best decisions I made. I've worked with other therapists before, but if you are specifically struggling with dopamine addiction, and if there is an additional layer of shame, then your conversations with a generalist will only go so deep. You should set a timer on your phone. Go for a walk if you have these urges. Although not bad advice, it does not get to the root of the behavior. When I started working with Jeremy, we started with the big picture. What will your dream life look like? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Then we tackled the habits that would prevent me from ever reaching a fulfilled life and started building ones that would create a strong foundation. Over the first 6 weeks, I started meditating, having deeper conversations with my partner, exercising more, and actively looking for ways to exit my toxic job. I was still indulging in the porn though. Jeremy kept me accountable, but he also was patient and understood that I needed to do this in my own time. He recommended lots of resources that helped me to realize that this is not serving me, that I want to move away from this, and when I did finally let go, my life transformed. The thing about bad habits is that you don't fully understand the extent to which it impacts your life until you actually step away from it. I felt renewed and a strong confidence that I can do whatever I set my mind to. I mean, why not? In 6 months, my life changed more drastically than any other 6-month period in my adult life. Each day, I wake up with a deep sense of gratitude and genuine excitement for the challenges ahead and the goals I'm on track to achieve. Oh, how joyful. So that is the testimonial from a former client of mine. Again, we'll just call her Jane. And again, I just want to stress how important this is to understand that men are not the only ones affected by porn addiction, sex addiction, digital dopamine addiction. It's all a spectrum. It doesn't matter if it's porn or dating apps or social media or Netflix. These things exist on a spectrum, and they're all forms of giving us that escape, helping us numb out, making us feel like we can be in control for a little bit. Whether, again, it's dating apps or Netflix or porn, this can affect everyone. And so if you are a woman out there listening to this podcast, you are not alone, and you can and should get help. You should get support because you don't have to do this on your own. A few things that I want to highlight from this testimonial because it really points to how to effectively break free from this addiction. So the first thing is, what she said about porn not necessarily being the issue, but being the symptom of some deeper underlying issue. That is 100% the case in all cases. The porn is the attempt to solve the deeper underlying problem. It's the attempt to escape the underlying problem. And so if you're just focused on porn, if you're just saying, I just want to stop this, I got to cut it out of my life, that's not really going to effectively work for long-term sustainable recovery if you never go to the root of the issue. And that's another thing that I want to talk about is that, for real world solutions, you can go to a therapist, you can go to a coach, but if you go to someone who's a generalist who doesn't really understand addiction, then that is never actually going to go to the root. So you're going to maybe build up a streak for a couple weeks. You might be able to get a run going, but really working with someone who understands addiction and understands recovery is so important because it allows you to go to the root of the issue, looking at why did I develop this habit in the first place? What am I trying to escape? What am I trying to cover up? What is the dynamics of this addiction playing out in my mind? That is really important there. Another thing I want to highlight is, as this client of mine said, and as many of you experience yourself, this can be an issue that is so sensitive and so close to our heart that we don't share it with anyone. And that can be really scary to have to go through this alone, and also scary to have to think about opening up to someone, potentially a stranger or a community of strangers. But once you do it, as this client did, once you find the courage to open up to somebody about it in a safe space, your life can transform because finally you can actually address it and get support. And the act of sharing it with someone who is safe and is non-judgmental will help you let go of some of the toxic shame that you've built up. Because what shame tells us is, hey, if you let anybody know that you have this problem, they're going to scream and yell and call the police and think you're a monster. And when you tell someone and you realize, hey, they didn't run away, they didn't scream, they didn't call me a monster, it helps to dissolve some of that internalized toxic shame. So that is a really important step on the path of recovery, learning how to open up to other people about it. It's why I run the community that I run, to get guys together in a room, in a community, and have a safe space where you can talk about what you're going through is just so valuable. The other and kind of last most important thing I want to mention about this testimonial, the thing I want to highlight, is what she said about accountability. And this is the fact that she had accountability, but it was balanced with patience and kindness. We need both of those in our recovery. We need hard accountability where somebody says, hey, what's going to make a change? What are you going to do? Have you taken action? If you keep slipping up, they call you out and say, hey, you're doing the same thing you did last week. What's going to be different this week? We need that accountability, and we need it balanced with patience and understanding. If your accountability is just filled with shame and judgment and, you're a piece of shit because you didn't follow through on your plan, that's not going to work either. So we need those two wings of the bird there, the tough love accountability and the understanding and the patience that it's a process and it takes time. So those are just things I wanted to share. This testimonial that the client wrote for me, it was just so impactful for me to read it because it's the experience of many of the people that I work with. And for me, it shows that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that so many people who struggle with this thing think that there's no hope, that they just have to struggle with this forever. They can't get support. they can't change. But so many people I have seen transform and overcome this problem and really break free from it. And so I wanted to just share this to give you hope that transformation and change is possible if you get the right support. So just as another reminder, if you're looking for support, reach out to me. Let me know that you'd like to get support. There's a few ways to work with me. If you're a guy, you are welcome to join the Unhooked Academy community. The doors are closed right now, but you can get on the wait list. So as soon as we open the doors, which we do about once a quarter, then you can get in on the community. Usually I have spaces available for my one-on-one coaching right now. So whether you're a man or woman, there are a few spots available. So you can check that out at unhookedacademy.com/intro. That's unhookedacademy.com/intro. You can schedule a free discovery call to see if one-on-one coaching is a good fit for you. So that's it for today. I just wanted to share that. I hope you guys are all doing well out there wherever you are in the world. And that's it. See you guys on the next episode. Peace.